In today's Camino journey, I am going to share with you an awesome sunrise. They just keep getting better and better. I'm going to share with you my discovery of how to fix my aching feet to where they're not hurting some more, which is huge. I'm going to cross through a portal that has been there for centuries that other pilgrims before me has passed through, and it represents the spiritual halfway point, and it's really cool. Cross through into another province, and what is really huge is that I passed a way marker for less than 400 kilometers to Santiago when I started it out at over 800, and that really gave me a boost. All that and a whole lot more on today's Camino journey for day 13. I've probably said it too many times for y'all, but I got to tell you, that's why we come out here. That is the sunrise coming over the town. Not the town I stayed in, but wow, that is absolutely gorgeous. And my camera's telling me more lights needed for super steady, so this is jerky apologies, but today doesn't look like it's going to rain much. Looks like if at all, but you don't know that for sure. So we'll see. There are some clouds over there, but then that's clear, and so that would be in the east, and I'm heading west into the clouds where the weather typically comes from, although yesterday the weather came from the south up there, so doesn't look too bad there. We'll see. We're prepared for it. Yesterday we got really wet, but well, it rained a lot. I've got decent rain gear. I got my umbrella, and nothing I got wet other than the rain gear. So now my feet did get sopping wet, and I stopped and changed socks. And that's something you need to do. Is I'd bring 3 pairs of socks. I use liners and darn tough wool. Bring 3 pair, one to wear around the albergue, and well, 3 pairs of the wool. You don't have to worry about 3 pairs of liners. You only need 2 of those. But I would bring those, and then and that way you could change into them when you get wet out there on the trail. You know, a lot of times my feet will dry out, but they're not drying out for whatever reason, because I guess they're just too wet. I don't want to push it to the point where I start getting blisters from it, so it feels so good to do that. Now, something that somebody showed me, Voltaren, which is the European version's different, but you could go to any of the pharmacies. They're so used to treating injuries from pilgrims that they pretty much know what you need when you walk in the door by your limp. But the Voltaren really seems to help the bottoms of my feet, my Achilles, and my calves, which all that of course is linked. Put some of that on there, and that really seems to help out. All right, let me continue this when I got more light. Sorry. Okay. All right, so when you ask for ham and eggs and toast, that's what you get. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. So I've seen these caves in the side of hills that this one, I mean, it's got communication devices. Somebody may be living in this one. It's got stoves and stuff to keep warm, but these are called bodegas, and they were originally made for food storage. Actually originally made for wine storage. Now they more or less food storage, but that was part of their culture. But I have to believe that with those communication, that's like Wi-Fi or TV or something up there. I think somebody may be living in this one. This one was actually a restaurant. So you see what they look like on the inside, and they've turned that into a restaurant, and I guess that's why they got the exhaust up there, the smokestack, because they're actually cooking in there. That's pretty cool. Good morning, Ramdino on the Camino community. Day 13. So a couple things about day 13 is, we got a bunch of big stuff for you. One thing is I need to get a big haircut. So my wife sees this, she'll have a fit. Let's flip it around so y'all can see what the Camino in Spain looks like. So, big items happened yesterday. One of the hugest things is that we passed the halfway point. Woohoo! That is awesome. So it's all downhill from here, right? After this hill. No, seriously, everything starts counting down. So that's a huge milestone. And we crossed past the milepost that got us under 400. So we're approximately 388, let's say 387 now, since I passed the 381. And I passed the 391 earlier today. So looks like we've passed into another province too, because they've started with marking the way markers. We lost that for a while in that last province, Palencia. So this province, it's like they're doing a better job of that. But yeah, that's absolutely huge. Kind of gives you a little boost, you know. So stayed in Letigos last night. And that's when I first realized we had crossed over, because coming into town, it's got a sign there that just tells you how far it is. I started doing the math and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And that was day 12 yesterday, to do half of the Camino. So, I mean, I think I could have easily done it in 24 days rather than the 33 days. But as you know, Millie's coming, so that's going to slow me down. But that's great. That's fine. Really pumped up about that. I should see her in 8 days. And then hopefully she'll be able to do a stage at a time, which is 13 to 17 miles. And if she can, that puts us 5 days out. So 8 and 5 is 13. That's 2 more weeks, less than 2 weeks. And then I'll be home to see my wonderful bride and my dogs and cats. Now, I'm not looking forward per se to this coming to an end, but I'm looking forward to seeing them. Haven't got homesick really since I've been out here. I heard, if y'all watched Dixie said she had a little bit of homesickness. I don't know if that was, you know, how far that was into the journey, but I haven't experienced that. I've just experienced an overwhelming sense of gratitude to God for the blessings I get each day. I mean, and some of those are like very poignant blessings. You know, something happens that day that's really huge. And then some of them are just walking with Him. Having the opportunity to get out here and walk that a lot of people don't or won't. So anyway, I mean, I'm just so grateful for that. And I hope that this will inspire other people to get out and do something like this. You know, you don't have to do the whole thing, but it sure is neat to do that. Come out here and in creation and walk with the Lord and just walk in general. Today, I can't remember the name of the town we're going to. It's not going to be that long of a day, about 21 miles. Yesterday was 17. I think today is right around 20. So, after I think it's 23 that I did the day before yesterday, and my feet killed me. It's good to recover and do a short 17-mile day. So, and today, so I think I'm good to go for that. We'll see. But so far the day is crunched out to be awesome. Had an awesome sunrise over the town and over the Camino. So I don't know if thru hikers experience what I've experienced on the Appalachian Trail or PCT or CDT. For me, this has definitely been more or less a solo trip. Most evenings I have some familiar faces to eat with that have either kept up with me or I meet there, and they are, I'm constantly having people come up to me. You go, I heard North Carolina. They start talking to me, or heard your accent. Are you from Texas? Everybody thinks I got a Texas accent. That is hilarious. One guy, he was from Cornwall, which is in the United Kingdom. Didn't claim to be from England or Scotch or Ireland. Came to be from, he said he was Cornish. Didn't know that was such a thing. And he said that he was talking to me, and he was like right behind me, within a foot of my head, in the chair behind me, and he's like, I feel like I'm in a movie, watching a movie, listening to your voice. So I don't know what movie that was. Hope it wasn't Deliverance. All right, let's keep on. All right, it's about 9 o'clock. We're coming into Sahugun, big town, which marks about the 10-mile point. So almost halfway done for the day. That's hard to believe. But usually the last part is harder. The last half, right? Because you're tired. Anyway, I got to get me some Compeed, which is the blister stuff you put on blisters. It's like a second skin. Really good stuff. So one thing about this trail is it's very international. There's people here from about every country. I hadn't seen any Russians, hadn't seen any Ukrainians, but plenty of Italians, French, Canadians, a ton of South Koreans. It's like they get paid to be here. There's so many of them. And yeah, you know, they kind of congregate. That's one I have seen. Let me back up. So I've seen a few Americans, but not a lot. And so all the French and the Canadians, which speak French, they all congregate around each other, and then they start talking to each other in French. And so that's kind of isolating. Same for the Italians, same for the Spanish. You know, so I mean, that's natural. But so just be prepared to that. Be prepared for that. Unless you come over here with somebody, you're going to have some isolationism, and that's, for me, that's been good, because I came over here more of a pilgrimage and reflective than I did to make a bunch of international buddies. A couple folks I may keep in touch with for a while, but you know, it's that's just the way it is over here. So not a detriment, not a pro or con, just that's just it. Could be a con for you, but maybe not. Some of you may be a little more extroverted than me. You may be able to go up to somebody, and particularly if you know a different language. But you walk past people on the trail, and you know, they don't understand English, much less my dialect. So when I ask them, how's it going? They have no idea what I just said. Or doing all right? They don't know what that means either. It might be some Americans don't know what any of that means. If I was to say, I'm back there with Mama and them, or I can't wait to get back there with Mama and them, they wouldn't understand. Some Americans wouldn't understand that, much less these foreigners. But it's all good. It's all part of the trail. All right, let's get in here and see if we can find us a pharmacia. Well, I have reached the halfway point. So actually passed it before, but this is kind of the halfway marker, what my understanding is. That is pretty cool. Yep, stepping over, halfway there, halfway to Santiago. That is outstanding. So I just walked through the, I suppose, spiritual halfway point, because I passed the halfway point yesterday, but this was kind of the halfway portal. Kind of like Harper's Ferry ain't really the halfway point. You got to go a little further on the AT. So, but pretty cool to come through there. One of the statues was a knight. I'm assuming that in the image of a Knights Templar that protected the pilgrims, and the other was a, looked like a cardinal or a bishop or some clergy person from Catholicism that would minister to the pilgrims as they came on their pilgrimage. So that's pretty cool. All right, we're coming into the big city, and oh, by the way, if you come this way, when you come into this city, the you can just walk straight down, and eventually, you know, you're off the Camino, but it's a lot of people have walked that way, so it's obvious that they're kind of cutting the corner back here, because they'll come together up here in a bit. If you do that, you'll miss the portal that I just walked through. So don't do that if you want to walk through the halfway portal. All right, made it through Sahagún. Got me some Compeed for my blisters that hopefully should get me through the rest of the day. And I'm going to stop here. Got a town I'll be coming into about 3 miles, so that's an hour. And I will I'm going to stop and grab me something to drink, something to eat, go ahead and let my feet breathe and put me on some of the magic lotion.
It rubs the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
And see if that won't carry me through. That'll be around 12 and a half miles in, doing 21. That'll give me 9 more miles, so 3 hours, or if I take my time, 3.5, no more than 4. I'm also going to figure out where I'm staying, so don't always been hiking around the Canadian Mary Eve quite a bit. We don't always stay at the same place, but our tastes run about the same, and we wind up, like last night we stayed at La Morena, so it's nice to see a familiar face. But she hikes so much faster. She runs down hills and runs sometime on the flat, so I'm not gonna even tempt that. All right, we have got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Well, we don't really have a short time because we're not on a time frame. I have given Millie a time frame of meeting her in 8 days, including today in Saria. So hopefully that's going to work out to where neither one of us have to spend more than a day waiting on the other. I told her if I'm for whatever reason slow down and are running behind, then she can go ahead and start without me. I will catch up to her. If she's a day behind, then I'll just take a 0 there in Saria and wait on her. All right, let's get rolling. Okay, this is a bit confusing. Your typical sign there directing you on the Camino, that's Calzada del Gata. Then over here, I've got one that says Milestones del Real Camino, and it's directing me somewhere over there. And then I got another one down there that's directing me to the right too. I can't get enough of zoom to see what that is. So let me walk down there and figure that one out. All right, that one says Milestones del Real Camino. So there's a spot here where it goes out into a lot more wilderness, but there's a lot less albergues and stuff out there. So I got to figure that out. All right, I'm not gonna be able to go that other way because it takes me away from where I'm staying tonight. So this one, I'm gonna go in here to Calzada. It's like 3.3 of a kilometer, and grab me a bite to eat, and then I'm going to work on my feet, and then come back this way and go the way I was talking about going up the road. All right, I'm back on trail after going into that small town, taking a couple hundred yards deviation to get me a bite to eat in a restaurant where nobody spoke English. Although, when I asked for a menu, they got me the English version. So I probably could have got by without it, but that was any good anyway. And so I got a hamburger and cafe con leche for $10.50. That's a pretty good deal, I guess. Last time where we were, it was $12 just for the hamburger that the folks I was walking with ate or got. Thought that was pretty expensive. Anyway, back on trail. A little confusing back there about which way to go. I could have stayed in town and went the other way, but concerned about there being albergues, and that wasn't my plan, and that's going to be a little longer. And so get to this, not this town, but the next town, which is about 8 miles away. Still a little confused. The app's showing I got 3 towns to go through, but one of those towns is on the alternate route. So I don't see how those come together. Didn't see a main road, and the app doesn't always show roads, but where it showed the Camino being, didn't show them coming across. So I don't know, a little confused, but we'll figure it out. The place I'm staying is a donativo, which means that's donation based. Typically they don't take reservations, but it didn't say whether they did or not. So I went ahead and attempted to make one through WhatsApp. We'll see if that works. Looks like in town there's 4 albergues and a pensioner and a hotel. Albergues are cheaper. Particularly the municipal ones are cheaper than the private. Then the next is a pensioner, which is basically somebody's house. They got it set up as an Airbnb, and then a hotel. And by hotel, I do not mean a chain of hotels like Econo Lodge or Super 8 or Marriott. Just a building somebody's got a bunch of rooms in. They decide to call it a hotel. You may or may not have a private bath in it. But there ought to be a place for me to stay here. I look on Gronze, that's GRONZE.com, to look at the comments from other folks, which reminds me I need to go back and catch up on my comments of the places I've stayed. But I look on that and obviously try to stay away from the one that's got more bad remarks than good remarks, knowing of course that most people that are going to leave there's more people percentage wise that are ticked off will leave a bad remark than those that had a good stay will leave a good mark. That's just the way it is. So we'll see when I get there. Looked like the Donativo had the nicest things to say about the people that took care of it. And they're usually run by volunteers, which means most of the time those people care. Although the one in Burgos, and he's got 100 something people in there a night, so kind of hard for him to care. That's the one where I had to break out. He was a little on the rough as a cob side, but we'll see when we get here. It's always an adventure, right? That's what it's all about. And I got some shade walking this way too, so that's pretty awesome. Hadn't had that in a while. I'd been told that I would be in the Meseta for 8 days, but the Meseta has always been described as a kind of a soulless flat plain with no trees. So, and I would be in it for like 8 days. I didn't we weren't in it for 8 days, so I don't know if there's another section of it. I thought it was one big section, so I'm a little confused about that. They do have irrigation here in some places, obviously. I've actually seen center pivot irrigation here way off in the distance. There's one that's a center pivot. These aren't, of course, but a lot of work to put those things out, that's for dang sure. All right, let me keep on going. Obviously we got a green tunnel here in the Camino as well. All right, I am passing 360.7 kilometers to Santiago. So I'm hiking about, I don't know, 34 to 40 a day. So probably got another, let's see what I say. Probably got another 7 miles, that's 21. So yeah, tomorrow I go under 300. That's pretty incredible. Is that right? Can that be possible? I don't know, but interesting. Excited about that. If it is, I'll let you know later. Nothing like walking down a little old Spanish town on a Saturday, eating a frio leche con blanco chocolate. That's ice cream with white chocolate. Boy, that's good. All right, 4 miles to go to the next town. See you then.